When trying to define omnipresence, the instinct is to map it directly onto the physical universe. We imagine an ultimate creator occupying every single coordinate of space, existing simultaneously in the vacuum between stars and the air in this room. In the 11th century, the Persian philosopher Nasser Khosrow documented this exact assumption. He noted that many thinkers equated this literal physical presence with the purest form of monotheism. Khosrow argued that this popular definition is a profound philosophical error. Placing the creator inside physical space does not elevate the divine, it artificially limits it. Physical space is not a passive, empty container. It is an environment governed by strict, unbreakable rules. If a creator exists inside that space, they are immediately subject to the physical laws that dictate how that space operates. To understand why, we need to break down the actual mechanics of space. By comparing Khosrow's rigorous models with Western pantheism and Eastern Asian cosmology, we can map exactly where the limits of physical reality end and where true transcendence begins. We have to redefine what everywhere actually means, stripping away the physics of the universe to understand the ultimate reality behind it. Khosrow begins by identifying the invisible presence that actually fills every corner of the universe. He calls this presence nature, or tabiat. Look at this model of physical space. Khosrow states that for nature to exist in any location, it requires two strict mechanical conditions: active power, which we can understand as thermodynamic energy, and the beginning of motion, a catalyst for kinetic change. Every coordinate inside this space is entirely defined by shifting states. Locations undergo constant variation: heat and cold, expansion and contraction, light and darkness. Take Khosrow's own case study of evaporation. A droplet of water cannot simply rise on its own. It requires the active power of solar heat to turn it into vapor, and kinetic motion to dictate its upward trajectory. The action belongs to the mechanical environment. This reveals a logical contradiction. If a divine entity is physically present in these coordinates, it would require the same thermodynamic energy to exist and the same kinetic motion to act. Because a creator cannot be dependent on external energy, nor forced to react to shifting temperatures and pressures, the divine cannot physically exist within measurable coordinates. If the creator is absent from physical space, we are left with a massive structural question: what actually contains reality? Khosrow maps this out using a Neoplatonic framework. In this model, space and time are not the ultimate containers of reality. They are secondary, emergent properties. Above the physical universe exist the intellect and the soul. These realms construct and organize physical reality, yet they exist entirely outside of its spatial dimensions. They do not require a location to function. In this hierarchy, nature acts strictly as a boundary guard. Khosrow explains that natural properties, like the heat of fire or the weight of earth, serve to maintain the physical limits of reality, separating the material from the immaterial. Without this stabilizing boundary of nature, the physical universe would immediately break down and collapse. Because nature is a created boundary, the divine creator exists further out still, in an infinite void completely untethered to the concept of place. In 17th century Western philosophy, a major movement ran directly into the conceptual trap Khosrow had diagnosed centuries earlier. Baruch Spinoza built his entire metaphysical system on a doctrine summarized as Deus sive natura, God or nature. Spinoza argued that there is only one infinite substance. By his logic, the universe, the laws of physics, and God are exactly the same thing, and the mechanical functions of the cosmos are the divine. Classical Neoplatonists, like the 3rd century philosopher Plotinus, maintained a rigid separation between the physical world and what he called the One. Khosrow and Plotinus share the same refutation. When you equate the creator with the physical universe, you take infinite potential and lock it inside a finite mechanical box. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment below. Your support helps me keep creating content. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Defining God as nature does not elevate the physical world. It strips the divine of transcendence, turning the concept of a creator into a synonym for thermodynamics. This sharp divide between the mechanics of space and the immaterial reality defines the backbone of the Persian poetic tradition. The 13th century mystic Jalal al-Din Rumi translated this philosophical tension out of academic geometry and into intuitive imagery. Rumi compared the physical universe, space, time, and nature, to sea foam resting on the surface. The divine is the immense hidden ocean churning beneath it, generating the foam but remaining distinct from it. To describe the true root of existence, Rumi used the term al-Akhwan. It translates literally to placelessness. Searching for the origin of reality using spatial coordinates is like looking at the superficial foam rather than the depth of the ocean. We see a similar method for handling the boundary between space and origin when we analyze classical Eastern Asian cosmology. The foundational text of Taoism, attributed to Lao Tzu, operates on the premise that the eternal Tao, the ultimate origin of all things, cannot be physically located. Look at this representation of Taoist mechanics. Where Khosrow saw active power and motion, Taoism observes physical space driven by qi, vital energy, and the interplay of yin and yang. Physical reality is a continuous flux of these natural energies, mirroring Khosrow's observation that measurable space is defined entirely by changing states. While Khosrow demands a hard boundary between creator and nature, Taoism emphasizes an organic, continuous flow. Yet both arrive at the same conclusion: the ultimate origin precedes physical coordinates. Despite structural differences, both traditions agree that the root of existence existed before heaven and earth were formed. We began with the initial assumption that a supreme being must be physically present everywhere in a room with us. But as Khosrow laid out in his proofs, physical omnipresence merely describes the bounded, mechanical laws of nature. Whether expressed through Neoplatonic deduction, Rumi's poetry, or Taoist cosmology, a consensus emerges. The highest reality must be the author of space, not a resident of it. The next time you look at empty space, recognize it as a vibrating mechanism of nature, busy maintaining the physical boundaries of reality. Because true transcendence requires leaving the physical map entirely. The ultimate truth of existence is found in absolute placelessness.